Hello, it is Tuesday the 10th of September 2019 CE. Good day, good rising, good tidings, good I sing. What did Josh say to me the other morning? Good I sing, good rising, serpent rising, no surprising, something like that. But hello, please see the thumbnail for the cast today about registration and the law of property. We have a subject here very dear to everybody's heart. A brother called Steve has posted on the 23rd of June at 9:33 a post on a profile, on a public media profile, and I've used the thumbnail there of a screenshot of that said post. There is some confusion. An email was coming to me about this post, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit you straight with the post direct from the domain, from what Steve has posted. I have reposted the post on that domain saying I smell buller shizen. That wasn't directed at Brother Steve, that's directed at the story, the article, and here we go. I shall begin. So the post from June the 23rd at 9:33 from Brother Steve on a public domain that is causing a little bit of confusion and controversy is this. Father who refuses to register son's birth loses High Court battle. This is not Liverpool rendition, recoverage, Evans's RIP Brother Alfie. No, this is something else, and there was an involvement of this brother with us when we went down to Liverpool in April the other year. The judge said the baby's father had unusual and somewhat eccentric beliefs about the concept of personal sovereignty. That's the first paragraph. This is why we're here. The word of personal sovereignty has been mentioned in the post straight away. Sunday the 23rd of June 2019 at 8:09 UK. The council involved in the case is Tower Hamlets. Tower Hamlets Social Services asked the High Court to make a decision. And then it says why you can trust Sky News. Why you can trust Sky News. I don't know if you can trust Sky News or I am not sharing these views and opinions. I'm bringing you clarification on registration and property due to a post by a brother called Steve on a public domain involving words and proposals such as this. Why you can trust Sky News. A man who refused to register his son's birth because of his what's this word here, eccentric beliefs about the state taking control of his child has lost a High Court battle. Tower Hamlets Social Services raised concerns over the baby's welfare after his parents failed to register the birth and asked a High Court judge to make a decision. Well, that's their property. They are the owners of that property. There is no law that I can see, David, of the realm here, hand on heart, mind, body, consciousness, all three. I can't find a law that says man is subject to registering property, persons and citizens, and so forth and so on. You know, how we claim property, fam, is what title we claim. If you are claiming the Mr., the Ms., certain public titles, and you have no rights to any property whatsoever. If you are in the private and you are not claiming any public titles, and you are set in the private and you have distinguished your status, standing, capacity, you have appointed, dissolved public statutory constructed trusts, then you're in a very strong position. There is ignorance and disclaiming of duties left, right and centre, miscarriages of justice. I personally can give you evidence in the form of phone calls that I have privately as my files and cases build up against public agents, these agents that refuse to accept authorization to be in a new type of relationship, and we have to then not only correct it and point it out to them, but once we do that, they don't know what we're on about, which means we have to then turn into a litigant in person and then be prepared to go to a judicial realm and present all of the private instructions, notices and so forth done, and say, why are we in a public arena discussing private things when you've been instructed and authorized and appointed and have first-hand knowledge? New relationships have been presented and you have disclaimed your duties. So I will proceed with going on. So that was the registering. Considering this story noise, and that's why we're here. I'm not going to be here all day. So they've raised concerns. They've asked the High Court judge to make a decision. They said the baby's parents were breaching the law governing the registration of births. Well, the law would be code. It would be Whitehall, Westminster, statutory, in the millions of codes. So, ignorance is no defence of those public codes there. If you are going to play and use them, the game is rigged. So, breaching the law, question mark over law, that would be public penal codes and acts, etc., extensions of government. Considering the issue at a private hearing at the High Court in London, Mr. Justice Hayden decided that the council would be an institutional parent and a member of staff could now step in to register the birth. Okay. The judge said that the baby, who is a few months old and cannot be identified, this is family law, it's private, you have to protect the identity of the child, so it's a bit ambiguous in parts due to that protection element. They had been placed into temporary council care due to concerns about his parents. So the baby is a few months old, is now in council care. Okay, that's bad news. He told the couple's the couple's parenting skills were being assessed before decisions about the baby's long-term future were made. Guardianship is coming into play there. Mr. Justice Hayden said the couple's decision to not register the birth stemmed from the father's unusual and somewhat eccentric beliefs about the concept of personal sovereignty. Now, that word sovereignty stands and is valid. You are in many respects. If Parliament's going to claim sovereignty, the Queen and other such member states of, entity-wise there, then we have given that at the coronation. Therefore, ergo, we cannot give what we do not possess. So we either have it and we gave it, or none of us have it and none of us will ever have it, and it's appointed to the divine creator and those above us. Those below would be self-governing initiates, all right? Swap sovereignty. This is part of the ongoing video blog and disclosure right up to the minute. Sovereignty is a good word. It's valid. It's been explained, the etymological roots of it, the breakdown of it, the monarchy, the archon, and the history and the lineage. So we stand by that, but we are prepared to readjust, and that readjustment would be going from sovereignty to self-governing initiate, witnessed and ambassador of Christ in some respects to this system, of which we have. More from the UK. Then there's a lot of propaganda posted there. Barrister Chris Barnes had outlined Tower Hamlets also aired their views. In his ruling, the judge said the boy's father believed that registering the birth would cause his son to be controlled by a state which he perceives to be authoritarian and capricious. There we go. It's very tiny text and I've got tiny eyes, so bear with. He said the baby had been given a name and a surname, but his father strenuously resists registration, so he did that against his wishes. He did not consent. They did not consent. They believe they have a belief system, and their belief system has been overridden by the Lords and the High Courts here and public secular code. So that means that your religion, government is like a religion, okay? You don't need to believe in it. The stream's skipping, sorry, you know how it is. So the judge explained that the 1953 Births and Deaths Registration Act required a birth to be registered within 42 days of a child being born. Well, that's offspring. That's not a child. Child's legal. We would argue that man, I'm going to get into this in a minute for you, get you something to chew on. If you've got any input, then now is the time to comment and put that in the feed, please. He concluded, I am satisfied that the local authority may intervene to assert its own personal jurisdiction, its own personal parental responsibility, to register the birth. In these circumstances, the local authority is the institutional parent, the nanny state, Right, so many things to say there. The Law of Property Act 1925 is a good place to have a look at. On the .com I have listed for the last will and testament lots of places to look at which would give you an idea of property rights, titles, positions, maxims and so forth. So we've mentioned there an act. An act is for what? The public. It is by consent. It is consensual. It has been deemed by me reading that and skimming that there is some foul play here. The fact that there is no in-depth comment or insight from Brother Steve on that profile or to do with that is mystifying, to say the least, with his knowledge and capabilities. I'm not sure what the game is with that post. It outlines to me a media circus again, where we would argue that belief systems, are there, and they are belief systems. Now, the government has a belief that it believes that we believe in it. Well, we might not believe in it, and there is now, before I go into the law of property and titles, maxims, and so forth, I want to draw your attention to YouTube and the .com and Facebook. Have had posts from me from the last 24 hours about a video that needs to be considered by everybody. It is cutting edge revelations. It's a video from this year. It's been sent to me to be looked at by a brother close in the loop, and it is called Report 124. And before I proceed, I'd like to say that it's an equity lawyer, Edward William of the family Ellis, and it's called The Corruption Remedy Process. It is on a YouTube channel called Ramola, D for Delta, Reports. It has 3,100 views. I envisaged this to go up to the hundreds of thousands. I've put it and posted it on the .com. It is a 2 hour and 8 minute video from mostly Edward. Brother Edward has done the world a favour, mankind, consciousness on a level from me. There is evidence in here against your previous prime ministers. I have a gripe with Tony Blair and the protection surrounding him, and the war crimes and the bribery and corruption that has been brought to us through the whistleblowers. And things have been reported, but yet we haven't got the evidence to make the claim, to stand there. He who makes the claim required the burden. Well, they are very good at removing that evidence trail and looking after their own. So this brother Edward has done our movements, the family, in line with what the Michaels are doing with the mortgages, and where we're at with our positioning on our knowledge base and our evidence is to provide to you. That man needs looking at. That video needs checking. I'm getting excellent feedback from it. It has come and been posted and downloaded on another user's channel. I am aware of that and what's going off. I have messaged Edward directly via email. I've give comments on the channel for Ramola and then D Reports. You will find a great many substances in that video heralded to that man and his disclosure. Wow. Get ready, get a pen, and make sure you absorb that. You might need to skim it twice. I would get on that as soon as practicably possible. He's going to echo everything that we're going to be saying and talking about now with regards to rights and titles and property. It comes down to your belief, and if you believe that there is property and it's yours, and you can't prove it's yours in law, then legally you will lose it. So if you don't know how to lawfully stand there and say this is mine, and they've got to rebut after your conditional acceptance of everything that they've claimed, and you conditionally accept, you see, once you've conditionally accepted, it puts the burden of liability back on the claimant. Once you've done that and you put down your claims, counterclaims, defences, argumentation, acceptances, notices, authorisation, then I don't believe this case has been handled correctly, much like Liverpool and much like other ones that we see in the public. They are made out like they are, but there is the evidence there for you to have a look at. All right. So those that possess legal title, that hold legal title, yes, cannot have the allodial title. And those that are in a trust as a trustee and a beneficiary, must not be in that trust, because it's a no-no. It will dissolve once it is brought public. So if you are in a public statutory constructed trust, the positioning is, it's all very well and good until you find out. And when you find out, then the brown stuff hits the fan, and you, by expressing it verbally and in a notice and whatever, would go back to the correct allodial title position. But if you don't know how to stand and argue that in a court of law, without vexation, without free man and man on the blood, you can go so far, but your paperwork should indeed precede you, should be done in private through the offices of, and when they don't perform, you have your files built up, and you should be able to go down there and argue in a high court realm with your argumentation in Surrey juris propria persona, in one's proper person. Now, I don't agree with this, and it is not my doing, but there is a way in a process, and a book there, the KJV and the Christian way forward for the remedy process, in more than one way. And they just need for you to be able to stand there and to present that, in law. I'll bring you to Django Unchained, when the man comes and wants to take the man Django from the slave master, or whatever he is. He takes him, and the slave master's chucked on the floor with his horse and cart, left, breathless, bereft, while this man says, I'm taking Django, blah, blah, blah. And the man on the floor, who was a slave master, says, I have the bill of sale for that boy. And it's like, that's blood and flesh and God's creation, but yet there's a paper format, a promissory certificate of holder in due course for a heart, a soul, no, we don't do that. It's not about the government claiming our, they don't get involved in making an offspring, an asset, a son or a daughter is made by a man and a woman coming together with the forming of the highest law in the universe, a magical force that was put into you and I by our divine creator. It is something now where man and woman make this connection on a weekend full of drugs and cocaine and stress and escapism, and they create a baby, and then they just think they can throw it away because they don't want it, and it was a moment of passion, and we don't appreciate what we've got ourselves, because we throw them in the bin, and companies are scooping them up and put them into products and charging you £120 a gram for such things in the form of stem cell related skin creams, and it makes me sick. So back to the point, we was invested with this special gift, and we can recreate not just matter, but it will have a sentient soul and spirit and energy forming that. Nobody can claim that. It's a product of the divines. And if we somehow accept legal Roman pagan belief systems into our life, and we give it credence, and we give it validification, we validate it, and we then we honor it, and we give it life, and so we answer to it, and we argue it, and whatever, then that it is real to them, and it's on. And if we never go that far, there are celebrities that have not registered property, and rights and titles are simple, and they've been hidden from us. This bloke, the brother there, amongst the professor of finances that we brought to you, and what Michaels are doing, there is too much opposing evidence in this realm, all right, for them to stand there now and say that they take our blood, all right? We will not have this. We have parliamentary measures being taken by the controlling orders, all right? You will be told what to do, and you will be the victims of your own demise unless you use your will. That is not a crime, to use your will and to stand up and to make yourselves known. Now, watch it. The revolution will not be televised. Again, it is happening. The thing called ascension is happening right now. Grim times, but not the end of times. And what you do, what you say, what you think is going to be monitored by AI, Facebook, and SpaceX and whatever else. Are all amalgamating together now, and assumed consent will be done on a digitized form, according to Brother Edward in his research and discovery. David Cameron and Tony Blair, Gordon Brown got a shitload to answer for, the Queen and others, and the usurping, subjugation, subrogation. We're not having it, we won't wear it, and we are seeing now October coming very fast. All right, so now's the time to search your soul, yourself, your belief system, England, Anglo, Britain, all of us on this landmass, but extended furthermore to all the continents that are confused and scratching their head and wondering and in the doubt those of us that are forking out in our pockets to pay for stuff that the academies and the trust want in the form of our education, trips, uniforms, meals, dinners, everything we're forking out, universal basic income. Well, we've got the given from the Creator, and the Vatican's got all the gold alongside Basel, Switzerland. We've located it. We've got the blessing. We're with Christ. We have the ambassador. We have the witness. We have the emissary. We have the intent, and we have the honour. We are not here to be slaughtered and locked up for civil, legal, Roman, pagan controversies in their realm. We step aside. Parliament is making, MPs are making alternative parties and pathways. The proverbial system, of Babylon has and is crumbling. If you need further proof, I don't know what I can give you, but now is the time. I'm going to read my emails. I'm getting on the .com. I have a lot of ideas and incentives, and they're being brought to you as and when and soon as possible. But I don't believe Steve has done that to annoy or to back that up. I think it's just a rather ambiguous post to say, it was one of his last before he's gone a bit quiet. And believe you me, I have no knowledge of anything, and I'm glad I don't. So I know what I know, and I know that you know that I know. And I'd like to hear what you're saying about this, about any of these topics, and the crumbling of, the uncertainty. It is going to happen, and they are making plans, and things will be put into place, and you will suck it up. And because of the revelations of late, we don't agree, but we just see and we're aware. So furthermore, I've got information given to the .com of relevance to all of this. I've been back to Birmingham today. Let me tell you, I've not been in a big major city for the last 4 to 6 weeks, and I've just had a shock again. Black bags everywhere, smoke everywhere, heavy traffic. Just my eyes was very busy, and my eyes haven't been that busy since the main stretch of Germany, in the land of turbos and 3-litre injection. So. Universal basic income should be given to all. Yes, it should. We've got the treasury and the gold and the accounts, and we're all in the crap and everything's crumbling. So why don't we use our voices and let them know that we know? The evidence there given by Edward will help do this. The fact that we're all, going to food banks and suffering austerity and living in sin, and the 3 classes of the realms. I'd argue the aristocrats and the working class, those in the private, working class or public, the ones in the private, then the aristocrats at the top there. We have a place, we have a right, you have a voice. In voices, like the commercial realm, is where the strength is there, and in our voices, we can be heard. There is a lot in the news. It's disturbed me since I've switched back on about medication, how heavily medicated we are. Anybody taking medication and so forth, well, here's some news for you. We have some inside alchemic knowledge of Brother Josh X, myself, Andy Sovereign Smith, and a lot of the family of revelations to bring to you. We are not doctors. Thank goodness we are not with the any medical anything. We are not licensed. You'll be pleased to know. Hallelujah. That is a good sign. We are not tied down, affiliated, or oath to anybody but you and our original covenant as man. And we can bring to you excellent ways of removing candida from the body, alkalining your body, silver water, copper water, oils. I had a horrific back muscular injury due to, I don't know, a lot of things, and you saw how crippled and in pain I was, or I was portraying to be, whichever way you want to put it. But let me tell you, I had inner leg pain, testicular pain, back muscle pain. I was hunched up and crippled and seized. First time for me to wake up and be in that. I've heard about it, but I've never experienced it. And I got away lightly, I will say, with some treatment oils, organic. I'll be careful what I say here, but we don't care for the Cancer Act. It's not applicable to me, the man. It's not applicable to you, any of you. Much like the properties and titles and so forth, they can say what they want, but they will need to prove that basis. And when you have an affidavit and certain tools there, which are the highest, most powerful ones that we've brought to you, and you do that autonomously as an author and put your autograph on it, and you play their games and you use their inks and stamps, and you conform and you make a document that in Admiralty maritime jurisdiction is heard, is seen, it's irrefutable, it's admissible, and it stands. They don't rebut it. Everything comes down, it crumbles. I don't know why we have such difficulty in these simple processes, and we're going round and round, hence the publications. This isn't a go at you. This is the system and its resilience, and if one doesn't know how to counter them in their games on that court, then that game will go one way. And even though justice dictates it should go one way, it will go the other way, and that's the House. Now, to close down any UK government agent, affiliation of, and extension, including the Queen down, okay, it says this in the human rights articles that are applicable as an international law to everybody as an emergency measure. I would suggest we all remember things like this as a closing down, final thoughts, shields up moment. Any agents of the United Kingdom government, international agency of such, hear this: when you ignore man's human rights and any rights in law, in international law, under the divine creator and under your own guise, you forfeit any rights to civil and legal enforcement, fines, levies, fees and collections, because you have broken the first paramount rule of your own and of the creators and the realms and of the natural law, as Mark Pazio so eloquently puts it. So, and others. But if you forfeit man's rights, my rights, end where some other entities begin, of the plant and animal and man kingdom, the three of them, and when they ignore them, and then they therefore are caught with their pants down, like Brother Edward is going to give you so eloquently, okay, then they cannot proceed any further. Such things as this stop things right in their tracks. So you cannot commit, breaches of law with legal policy, as we've said. So there are ways to recognise the heinousness of this and bring it straight up in many ways, but this often falls on deaf ears and nobody listens. We're on the cusp of exposing a great scandal in finance, in education, in healthcare, in prison systems. All of the current systems are crumbling. All of the current systems were set up by gangsters. And so now these systems are going to eloquently be replaced by the supposition of a backstop, okay? And here we go now. What's going to happen is what they want to happen, and it will go how they want it to go. If you're interested in stepping out of being told what to do in this Roman militia and being assumed and presumed with your digital signed consent and whatnot, and you're chipping and RFIDing and Boris's red button against, Trump's red button against Germany and Korea's red button against the, the policies and whatnot, then, wow, what a state. I am sorry. I am a little bit dismayed and confused, but nevertheless, I am also excited about our power and our authority and what we are doing and what that video has done for you that I've posted and that you're about to see, okay, will envisage great futures for us all. So report number 124, and it's equity lawyer Edward William Ellis, and then it's called The Corruption Remedy Process. Man's here telling us that he's been to Obama, he's been to Cameron, he's been to Trump, he's been in administrations, he's made noise, he's had assets frozen, he's held claims. Wow, I am very, very happy about this, to say the least, and it doesn't mean there's going to be an overnight fix, but those that know what you need to know and where to go and what to quote, then this backs up. So anybody that would argue now with me about property and rights and, titles and this, that, the other, I'm paraphrasing, I'm not giving it you all in exact, but there is the volumes and points for you to get educated on this .com of ours. So this December we'll have been here 2 years and we'll have got a lot done. It still isn't finished, and I'm grateful for the fam and the contact and where we are with our health, our science, and our refusal to be, assimilated and subservient and go against our original belief systems, which nobody can take away from you. Look, as Brother Matthew in Sheffield said, a man can choose to become a woman, and a woman can choose to become a man and go through great amount of processes to be how they believe themselves to be. Okay, and we'll leave that there. But yet, in this legal system, you know, you can... I can't remember how he put it now, but it was really good. Sometimes he just says these things like Smithy does off the back and doesn't notice he's said them. I'm like, just whoa, hang on. So I'll get him on for a chirp, and I'll ask him to remember. He's got some eloquent points. So if you have a lot of gold, Francis, and the world is starving, what would be a great idea to do would be to give us all a universal basic income of all of these Treasury Direct accounts, okay? And we can digitize it, and we can put it on apps, and we can have thumbprints, because they read thumbprints, and we can authorize as we see fit, and we can transfer via endorsement, via our God-given unalienable right, with the mineral and wealth reserves of this realm. As all the systems are crumbling and they're shouting Bitcoin and such investment opportunities as, and they're talking about universal basic incomes, then let's have the truth straight to it, and then we can crack on with the subatomic quantum hermeticism where we're meant to be, and we can leave neurotoxin drugs and prescriptions and doctors, and we can start healing the way that we should be, the way that the tribesmen and the herbalists of way back have done. And for those of you that are wanting more, always wanting more, and can never get, you know, enough, when I give you too much, it's still never enough. Please go to the Leap Project, visit Rex, and check out some of his videos on the boneless folk from way before Sumer, Mesopotamia, Canaanites, Akkad, everything. He's on it. I watch him to escape, and I don't know what you think of him, but he does a bit of advertising and whatnot. He's getting by, and he does reveal a lot of good information. So there is a secret doctrine he's reading from. Furthermore, the learning never stops. The education just keeps giving. We've got the basics though, and we know where we're at. I'm very sorry for the confusion that post may have caused, and involvements with, and you know, not enough explanation given. Ultimately, there is systems and beliefs, and I can't tell you what to believe. You must find yourself and your soul and your conscience and your belief, and you must argue that with your inner self, and you must come to some agreement, and you must heart your stomach and your brain conscious, you know, your spirit, your soul, your essence, your mind, your conscious, however way you look at it, it must harmonise and equalise. And yes, I am very happy to be able to confidently stand here and argue with this, and put to the point that we wouldn't have gone down to Liverpool, and we wouldn't have wasted that time, and we wouldn't have spoken to the priest, and we wouldn't have done what we did and got the results that we did, even though it was an ultimate failure to mark it down. You know, it was all right and relevant. So I know, and you know, and we know what's what, and you've got those books, and you've got your beliefs, and then you've got the other doctrines of which we've found these books are based on. So I'm sorry for that. The New Testament has been found out, you know, Constantine killing off folk and making out he did it to save the Christianity when he rewrote Christianity for his own demise and the Roman Empire. You know, and moving on from that, we have the Old Testament, the KJV, and the Kabbalion, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Aramaic texts, and then the cuneiform and the pictographs form, hieroglyphs and whatnot. Tellinger and others have wrapped this up rather well, and we've, you know, Spanacci, Tellinger, you lot in yourselves, the hangouts, the casts, what we've done, and bringing it together. We are here. We have the secret inner angles, maths now, of the first geometrical shapes, and these maths and code and principles will align with what Tesla said with vibration and frequency, and the numbers are somewhat mathematics is the science of nature, and the harmonics and resonance cymatics that go with that, and then the magnetic, electro and magnetic, electromagneto, they are the same wave spectrum, electricity and magnetism. It's been proven. We're coming a long way with health, with science, with energy. It's being suppressed and kept from us, and we're being given metric, metered, managed, monitored, restricted, AI ways to go when we've got the internet out there in the form of space, air, and we've got electrons, neutrons, photons. We are able to interact with that. And why I've gone quantum is because if you think you are a tiny speck in this speculatory realm, and you don't feel that you have a path and you are connected, then know that you are on that atomic scale level. You can interact with the universe, and as Rex has put it, it gives you a place and a feeling, a sense, a knowing, a well-being. Why does everybody text when I make a video? I have a completely quiet morning. I go on the video and everyone starts saying, hello, Dave. Hello, everyone. So, the subatomic connection is giving the godlike connection back to the fact that you are of this and you are not separated. You are not tiny. You belong, and you are being separated, and you are made to feel tiny. So you give up and you submit. We refuse, much like the great voices of those back in the day. This is Sparta 300. We will stand, we will keep our beliefs, and we will keep our souls. Thank you very much, UKG and everybody else, all right, in your suits. You may have sold your souls, and you may have got your money, and you may have made your choices, but we refuse to sell. We do not have disclosure. We do not have anything from you other than threats of the force of law. You are not friendly. You do not show love. You have no understanding. You make us pay and sanction us when we use the wrong colour ink or we're a few days late. This is all voluntary and by consent. If you force this upon us, we may as well have Hitler here, or Saddam, or Gaddafi, or any of the others that you've killed and said they was bad people and they had weapons of mass destruction. Tony Blair is a war criminal, and he's standing on the public world stage giving advice about our future and prosperity. Go and watch that video from Brother Edward and let me know. David at spowspro.com. I am behind with that, but I'm catching up today as ever, and on the .com. Wow, too much going off. We need to get out there in the communities and strengthen our independent support. If you've got the current parliament and government shutting down, hello, is this thing on? Hello, what have we got? Who's going to be, when, where? Are you feeling safe? Do you feel confident? Do you feel looked after? Do you think the trustees are acting responsibly? Are they following their duties? Can you hold them to account? Are you willing to hold them to account? Do you think they should have another chance? Do you not think while it's shut down, we should keep it shut down and start again with something afresh? And have a universal basic income connected to the Treasury direct accounts with your thumbprint on an app? Oh, that's too much. It's too hard. I'll do that for you tomorrow. Greg, Smithy, anybody. I won't volunteer others, but we could do that, all right? It could be done. The things, the technology, it's incredible. But yet when it comes from man and the hospitals and the science and the health and nature and the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom, I'm sorry, commerce comes first, and acids and, trains and highways and roads and rockets and war. Who agrees with war? Who wants war? Who thinks we could manage without it? All of us. So why are we doing it? Even in the great books it says don't kill. Remember, don't kill, love the women and children, look after the animals, go forth and multiply, don't be deceived. Yeah. And just to complete that, there was a phone call. Thank you, G-Star. I'll let him know in a bit. I'm going to go to your comments now and wrap it up. Bit vexated myself, passionate. Tuesday, 10th of September 2019, and I'm full of it. I'm fueled up. I've been turned off for a while. I've been focused. I've been releasing 30 videos across 11 days, not all my own, making a heliocentric bibliotech decoded list, attending to the key competence, and also managing my own things. So forgive me while it's all scattered. We are winging it. Literally, we're all winging it here, in case you haven't noticed. Blessings to Eric, Will, Molly. I don't know what that's on about. I'm not giving advice here. I'm giving an update, love. Chill Star, fist bumps, listening. Been told that little red book the hospital and the midwife uses to record the weight and growth can be used as evidence of, indeed, many things can be used as evidence, but noted, Eric, much love. Happy to be used as a guinea pig. Oh, bless you, Molly. We know, but it's to no. We are the guinea pig. We sacrifice ourselves. We don't put the family to be sacrificed. But thank you for that. Seeing there's the love. Never met, and I'm feeling that. There, yeah, apparently mine is due to, yes, sorry, all right, Jerry, see ya, noted, scanning, Melanie, Genesis, he shall bruise your heed and he shall bruise his heel, brilliant, Jerry, oh, hey up, have you been chatting to Smithy, is it Melanie? Yes, thank you sister, much love, that is pow, okay, I love that, I love you scribed. Beautiful. Poetry in motion. Can't make you this. Is there a new song out by somebody Eilish as well about? So I just couldn't believe it when did I see that right? Did I see something that's come out about a title in the form of and videos about satanicness and the Switzerland tunnel opening and what happened there? I just can't give no more proof about it. We've got a position to take here, and emissaries, ambassadors, witnesses. Even if you are not in the Christian club or Catholic club, and you've got the love, and you are in another community of faith and worship, you can join this with us. And even though you are not strictly with traditional Christ, but you're with God and you're with a version of Christ according to the doctrines of, if you've got a birth certificate, you've been bonded, you have a pathway out. So once again, to reiterate, there's a concern about the future, and quite rightly so. Not my doing. I'm going to look at Jonathan Pye in a bit. I can't wait to see what he's done. If you don't look at YouTube, fake news man, comedian Jonathan, he cheers me up in times of this. You have your will, you have your thumbprint, you have your rights. No one can take them. Not I, not SPO's Pro, not an oppressor, not a dictator. You can submit them and you can give them. And once you've done that, and once you've taken, albeit non-disclosed and deceptional, you will face the wrath of. So that bit is where we are being attacked, where ignorance of rights, and all I can say is the international covenants of laws protect man in such a realm that if any agent, institution, entity, body, physical format of derivative thereunder infringes on that, and that's a crime, an offence, a crime, an international crime on an international level, then we make some noise, and we make noise about the Crown of London. I think the whole world will appreciate that noise and these agents being made noise of. If you want to know how and why and whom to look at, please check that video with what I've said on Romola D reports, and let's have a chat in the near future. I'm going back to emails and bits and bobs, and I'll thank you all for your time, for subscribing, for viewing. The 7 thumbs up, we're getting better, look, thank you. If you're a new scribe, thank you, love, and we will see you soon. We have an impending seminar to announce, annual meeting. I'm looking like the 22nd of September up north, so not confirmed, we're waiting, so stand by and we'll be in touch as usual. Thank you all, and blessings to one and each, and all of us. Do not give up. Keep a good mantra. Repeat. Health and wealth. The water that you take, we would argue the tap water's poisonous. All right, and we can prove that. There is videos on here that aren't in playlists that are scattered around, and there is Lyndon's video he lent me of Thames water and the slurry that's come out of that. Starting with water and how you drink that, saying a prayer before, it's weird, but just try it. Writing on your receptacle, love, and thinking of love, somebody that you love. Dr. Masaru Emoto, Messages from Water and the Rice Water Experiment. Familiarise yourself with the subatomic quantum level of your pineal gland, pineal gland, yes, the third one, the third eye, and how that translates into molecular structure change of water before your very eye. How you cook, what you wash, we'll get Josh on. I've got somebody with parasites that wants to know what to do and how much to take of things to extract parasites. The water, what you cook with when you're boiling stuff and pasta and rice. If you're having to use tap water, pour you distilled, you can distill, but you need to put some mineral element back into that water because it's totally aqua, H2O pure. That's your key. You're 80% water. What you think in your mind is step number 2. How you think. If you're hard on yourself, if you're depressed, then we've been there. I'm sorry, but it's ass kicking time. Pull yourself out. Think of us, our voice, something we've done. Find yourself a happy moment to latch onto, something that's guaranteed to make you laugh. Hold on to it. Lock it in. That voice that comes up and puts you down, you know, that depressing thing. Oh, it's no point and whatever. Change it. Move it, have words with it, lock it away, play games, find a mantra. Each day I am getting better. I am the best that I can be. I will be the best that I can be. I am loved. I am love. Simple little 3 to 5 letter sentences, and repeat them. And over time, having the right water, controlling, you know, the way that we ingest and we think, and that's half of the battle. Knowing who you are is the other half of the cognitive battle. Left side and the right side, you know, eating convenience food and high sugars and not looking after your body is what they want, and they want you to do that, and they want you to think that. So it's catch-22 on many fronts, and every time you sign, that's because they don't trust you, they don't believe you, and they want to hold you to legal account. So when you sign something, you've effectively made a bond. You've made a bond. You need to know what you're bonded to, by whom and why and what. If you sign that and you've signed without any liability, then you're attached to it and you've agreed. That would be the surety part. So we don't like that, not especially if we are allegedly the as king creditor dominion of Christ, personified, not gods, not sovereign, but you know, private self-initiates of the conscious universes, multiverses, and now quantum 11 dimensions. So we're moving fast. All right, so are they. If you're stuck, you're confused, you're left behind, thank you for, you know, letting us know. We know where we are. We are moving too. We are moving fast. We are looking at everything we could possibly use against this system to let it know without it saying we're insane and locking us up. I don't want to reveal anything to you on public mass and get you in that same position. We have ideas. We have everything. We're looking for a door. Okay, that's what I'm telling you. We're looking for the door, and how to get to that door, directly or through the Anglican high clergy of. How do we speak? What do we say? How much do we go? And how, you know, and what is, so just bear with. And that's it. That'll ding dang do. There's a lot of videos for you to catch up with. There's a lot of biblical stuff coming out and godlike stuff. Again, not my doing, not our intention. We're not here for you to question your faith or to try and change you. It's your belief system we're looking at, all right, and we're allowed to do that because we believe that you might believe in something that's not quite right. Not all of you. And if you show it to ones and they don't listen and they don't care and they don't know, then that's it. I'm sorry, but you know, even family members do this to us, so you know, you can't force that. I'm going to say ciao, much love, thank you. Keep them peeled and don't let the news scare you. All right, the news stories. That's what they are. They are stories. I forgive and wish to be forgiven. Yes, I echo that, Jerry. Well, good talk. That's it. Bish, bash, bosh. We're on this on many levels. They don't like it. They will lie to you. They will say it's not true. Of course they will. Look at that video that was just been shared by us, and you will see exactly blood and death, you know, being skirted around. You're welcome. Much love. Thanks for the thumbs up, and we will speak soon. All right, scribes, initiates of self, and the law of love. Ciao bello.